Spending time understanding people's needs, people's behavioral drivers really help a lot in, I'll say, getting the most out of people, but also helping people achieve the most, which I think goes side by side. Number one would have been understand people. Understand the motivators of people that surround you. And right, whether you call them staff or coworkers or partners, it's really pausing to understand psychology just a little bit. And I'm not saying, go back to school. I'm not professing to be, a psychology professor. What I do know is spending time understanding people's needs, people's behavioral drivers really help a lot in, I'll say, getting the most out of people, but also helping people achieve the most, which I think goes side by side. And back then, Jackson, I was definitely a Ryan first type of guy. Like, how do I put as much money in my pocket as possible? If you're in my way, I'm going to run you over, versus really understanding that, that web hosting company, we had 200 employees at our peak. I don't know that me as CEO was any more impactful than the customer support representative in India. Our pay scales might have been different, but it took both of us, and probably took them more than it took me, to make the company successful. So people first would have been a great lesson back then. Psychology, people first. Second one would be understand the numbers. And understand the numbers, I do think we have a fiduciary responsibility, right? A responsibility to the capital of our business to understand how to manage it. And back then I was great at logging into a bank account and seeing how much money we had, right? That's easy. But understanding, right, gap-based accounting, understand accrual versus cash, understanding some financial modeling principles, understanding how to create a budget. These were all things that were not ever really explained to me and not really that important to me. It's like, let's just sell. And we sell, everything will be fine. And certainly revenue solves a lot of problems, but not as much as profit. And so understanding just at least the basics around finance and accounting, I think, is incredibly pivotal. And then simultaneously, kind of that third thing to consider is, how do you maximize the value of a business? Where now I look at the best ran businesses, the ones that are, always ready for sale. And that doesn't mean every business is for sale, but there's just certain things you should do from, I'll call it a professionalization of a business, right? Are you documenting your core processes and procedures? Do you have a data room? Do you have financials that are tied out every month? Do you have them audited by a third party, right? Are you following industry best practices? The things that aren't sexy at all in the entrepreneur world. Like, we don't want to talk the big revenue numbers, the big growth, the crazy acquisition, the hero's journey of saving the day at the last minute. And that has value, but mastering the basics, man, Jackson, that would be the biggest lesson overall, is just, can you just get really, really good at the basics of making sure your month-end financials are closed, making sure there's a data room, making sure you're always leveling up staff, making sure you're paying to market, like this stuff that is just boring. Like, inevitably, as people are listening to you and I talk, and they're like, this stuff sucks. This isn't fun. This isn't the good stuff. It's the important stuff, though.